think it's become a habit, possibly. And I want to invite you today to take a look at that and ask yourself if it's just become a habit and maybe a habit that you want to break. Because the deal is this: asking why exasperates the very thing that you're struggling with. It keeps you stuck in that thing. Because the more you talk about that thing, the longer it has its hold on you, its grip on you. So asking why all the time, when you tell your sad story to your next friend, you really are asking why. It keeps you stuck. And stuck is not a place we want to be as a spiritual being. Makes sense? Stuck is not a place we want to be. If we really are spiritual beings, and we are, and if we really believe it, and we do, we don't want to stay stuck in a bad way. Spirit drilled this truth into me big time when I was in ministerial school. There was an incident that occurred when I was studying to be a minister in seminary that knocked the winds out of my sails completely. I was angry. I was embarrassed. I sobbed so loudly people were concerned for my well being. I was shocked. I was disappointed. I was a mess. A mess. All of that rolled up into a catastrophic experience. And I remember going back to my little efficiency apartment, and we had landlines in those days, and the phone rang, and I picked it up, and it was a Unity minister who works for Unity Worldwide Ministries. Lovely woman, also a family therapist, by the way. She called to see if I was okay. She called to check on me. And of course, as we do, the moment she asked me, I started to cry again. Can you relate to that? She just opened, she pulled the scab off, and there it was, still bleeding. And she said, "Why is the wrong question?" Because obviously I said, "Why is this happening to me?" And she said, without skipping a beat, "Why is the wrong question?" And I was like stunned. I had no idea what she was talking about. And I didn't ask her then because there were other things on my mind, but I never forgot that. I never forgot that. So don't you know, a seed was planted back there. And I have spent my life figuring it out along with lots of other things. And I have come to the conclusion that she was absolutely right. It was a waste of time, a waste of my precious energy, and would have kept me stuck in that story for quite a while longer, asking why. I've never forgotten that. One of the most instructive moments of my life, actually. Now, hear this. Hear this, please. I am not saying don't feel your feelings. She did not invite me to stuff my feelings, not at all. That had nothing to do with her comment. You hear that? Do never, ever deny your feelings, friends. Feelings are master teachers. Master teachers. They're important. They're so important. I would never suggest it. I don't want you to think I'm saying that. Feel your feelings, yes. Asking why you have them? No. You see the difference? Feel your feelings. Be with your feelings, yes. Asking why you're feeling that way? No. Asking why over and over traps us in that woe is me kind of mentality. And that is not a characteristic of a spiritual being, which is what you are. This is spiritual being 101. It is not what you are, so you don't want to hang out there in that woe is me kind of energy. We are sons and daughters of the living God. God is all, God is everywhere, all the time, no exceptions. One of the books that changed my life forever early on is a book that I still refer to all the time. People who meditate with me Monday mornings know very well that I frequently turn to it to read an inspiring passage for us to take into our meditation. People who attend my classes and my book studies know that I mention it all the time. It's a book called What Are You? Written by Imelda Shanklin. And it was written in 1929, so its language is old fashioned, very old fashioned. But I want to share a couple of her words about this business of being a spiritual being with you. She says in her book, disquieting questions as to the why of life cease when you begin to regard yourself as an impersonal being manifesting as personality. An impersonal being manifesting as personality. She says you become immune to doubt when you learn that the impersonal is indestructible, never changes. Poise rules your life. When you awaken to the fact that the changes which come to the personal are not the work of anything outside of yourself, but the registrations of your own mental operations. The changes you're going through are your own doing, is what she's saying in plain everyday language. She goes on to say in the book that when you realize that asking why doesn't serve you, and you come to understand that whatever changes you're going through, you're experiencing, are not what really matters to a spiritual being, you have finally begun to embrace the truth of what you are. Make sense? Not always easy. I know that as well as anyone. Not always easy, but it's doable. It's doable. As a spiritual being, you are one with God and you know it. You forget it. We came in forgetting it. We come in pure as white, fresh snow before it gets all dirty and messy and ugly. Yeah, I just had a flashback of what snow looks like up north when it gets dirty. It's pretty when it first comes down, but then that's it. Unless you go out in the woods where there's no traffic and stuff like that. But anyway, we come in as pure as that, and we quickly forget what we are because we're born into race consciousness, the human race consciousness, which is a great big hodgepodge of people who are everywhere on the spectrum of being awake from zero to fully awake. And we're born into that. And regrettably, many of us come into families who are clueless about the truth of their being. And so we easily and immediately begin to adopt reactions and behaviors that don't serve us. And oh my goodness, we forget so quickly. And then we get glimpses, don't we, as we begin to mature. We have moments where we feel so aligned with the Christ nature that is innate, the real us. We feel so aligned with it, and we feel so bright and so positive. It's just pure bliss. And then something interferes with that. And the beat goes on, as they say. So what do we do? What do we do to change the habit of asking why? If it's one of the things that blocks us from expressing our Christ nature perfectly, and it is, what do we do to change it? I have two suggestions for you. One is to redirect your attention. So if you're having One of those experiences, maybe not as catastrophic as the one I described, but if you're having one of those challenges, one of those life challenges, and you feel why bubbling up, even if you don't say it, you feel it bubbling up because you really want to know why, redirect your attention to something far more interesting to think about. And if you're a spiritual being, that would be a spiritual thought, and you'll resonate with it. You redirect yourself, you redirect your thought. For example, if why is this happening to me is bubbling up, you might have some statements handy and available to reflect on, or a passage, or a painting, or a piece of music, whatever it is. But if it's words, you might say, this pain is part of my spiritual unfoldment. It's simple and straightforward, but it reframes the experience, does it not? In a way that is consistent with your spiritual nature. This pain is part of my spiritual unfoldment. I don't need to know. But excuse me while I go curl up and eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's and enjoy the pain. Cherry Garcia, by the way. This pain is part of my spiritual unfoldment. Or this pain is temporary. I am open to a closer walk with God. This pain is temporary because it is. Everything in the temporal world is temporary. This pain is temporary. I am open to a closer walk with God, and let it go. Redirect your attention. Focus on the affirmation rather than the situation. Don't let that situation drag you down. We don't have to work at changing our thoughts because, frankly, have you ever tried it and how successful were you? I'm doing a book study right now with a group of women on Sunday afternoons, and which is why I have to run home. But anyway, um, and we're studying Mastering Life's Energies by Dr. Maria Namath. And those of you who've been listening to me a while know that I also quote her frequently. And she actually spent last Sunday with us, and it was 2 Sundays ago for an hour and a half. We had the pleasure of her company, and it was a remarkable, remarkable gift, or an hour, I think. It was a remarkable gift. And she does something, she's very clever and very funny. I adore her. And in her book, she gives an example of how unsuccessful we are at changing our thoughts, how futile it is to even try to change our thoughts. We can redirect our attention, but not change our thoughts. So let me give you a challenge. For the next 10 seconds, try not to think about a hot fudge sundae with nuts and whipped cream on top. For the next 10 seconds, try not to think about a hot fudge sundae with nuts and whipped cream on top. What happens? There is a parade of hot fudge sundaes with whipped cream and nuts and a cherry on top just marching on by. It's really hard to change our thoughts, extremely hard, futile. It's not so hard to redirect our attention. You see, even the description is gentler, easier to digest, easier to manage. I work at Silent Unity part time as a prayer associate, as most of you know, and take anywhere between 70 to 110 prayer requests every day when I work. And I can tell you, and we all do that, not just I, we all do that. We all do that, and we all take that many calls. You know, I think last year we had 1.5 million calls total, so it's a busy place. All we're really doing, time after time after time, is helping people redirect their attention. Now you think about it. If you call silent unity for prayer, odds are you're stuck. Odds are you're feeling yucky. Odds are you're having some kind of experience that doesn't feel too good and you'd like to change it. We don't even try to change it. That's not our jobs. But what we can do is redirect your attention. And we always start by inviting people to turn from without to within. Turn from without to within. Because here's where you're going to find the peace you're looking for, just as we did earlier in meditation. We then share some inspiring words, some uplifting idea, some genuine loving statement. We redirect them to their hearts and then share those kind of words. And time after time after time, people say, thank you. Redirecting your attention is magical, friends, and fairly easy. And the more you practice it, the better you get. So that soon you just begin to do it automatically without thought. That's when you've changed the habit. Make sense? Yeah. That indescribable energy that we tap into when we turn within, indescribable, almost undefinable thing that we call God is always present, always available, always available. And it's so easy to go there. And we can make it a habit just as easily as any other habit that we have developed that no longer serves us. So shifting our attention works. Another idea is to change the question itself. Consider this. One of the shift leads is a prayer associate who is in his upper 80s and who was a professor at the seminary when I was going to school, Reverend Tom Thorpe. Good morning, Tom. And I told Tom by team message that I was going to talk about this. And I asked him if he had any pearls of wisdom that he wanted to share with me, because he's a very wise guy. And he said, yeah, over the years, when I talk to people about the silly habit we have of asking why, I suggest that they change the question to what now? Simple. What now? But so much more effective, so much more productive, so much more serving, so much more positive. And our ego isn't used to that question. So it doesn't mess with us right away. It's like, oh, what's she doing? What do you mean, what now? You see what I'm saying? Whereas our ego's real used to why. Why me? It loves why me. Ooh, it can have a party with your psyche. But what now is a whole different ball game, friends. What now? So ask what now instead of why. What now? The next time your world turns upside down, and it will, maybe even today, and it will, maybe not in a great, big, huge way, but maybe some little way. Don't ask why. Don't ask why. Redirect your attention or ask yourself, what now? Because most importantly, you have got to remember what you truly are. Namaste. I am weak and I need nice to and power to help me over my weakest hour. Let me with me to see. Oh, lead me all along. Don't just be God, be along the way. Oh, if you leave me, I cannot stray. God, let me walk, let me walk. Oh, be take everything you want. Lead me on, lead me. I am lost. You take your hand, me. I am blind without light. Without that light, to see. Lord, just lead me nicer than be on. Just lead me on to lead me. Say, lead me, guide me along the way. If you lead me, I cannot stray. On the Lord, and let me walk with each day. The Lord, yeah, lead me on. Why don't you lead me in the same? Lead me on. Lead me on. Lead me.
Thank you, Jeff and Linda and Reverend Linda. And I just have to say, remember back at Razzle when we did What Are You with Imelda Shanklin for the book study? There were 7 or 8 of us. It is a powerful book. I totally agree with you. It's one of the 3 that I reread every December if I haven't read it sometime during the year. And if you care, the other 2 are Illusions by Richard Bach and Living Buddha, Living Christ by Thich Nhat Hanh. And I always make sure those 3 I reread every year. And I know Linda W. was in that group. And Rosita, were you in that group? I think you were. Yeah. But so those, anyway. Uh, Now's the time when we take out our tithes, our offerings, our gifts. We hold them in our hands as we say together, Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I love to give. Johnny's our prayer chaplain today. He'll be over there after the service if you would like to share some affirmative prayer with him. Don't forget yoga with Lana, who is here, oh, right there on Mondays. I know she's here today. Prayer circles Tuesday at 11. See me if you'd like Reiki. Thank you to everybody who has any part in the service before, during, after, during the week, when little minions, little angels come in and clean and stuff like that, and fix things and all of that sort of stuff. Come on up. Would you bless the offering?
We include these prayer requests, those of you who don't know, and you probably all do. If you have a prayer request, put it in this box. So we bless everyone here today and those not here but watching from home. We bless every giver and every gift we've received, pledging to use it to further the work of supporting this spiritual community in the most beautiful and perfect way possible. We lift every one of these prayer requests up now, affirming together in prayer that every prayer request is answered in the right way at the right time. Thank you, God. Amen. I just want to say before I sit down that this woman over here, my sister, is incredibly congested this morning, not contagious, she tells me. But for her to get up here and sing that song the way she did took a tremendous amount of skill and strength, and I thank you.
So please rise. Let's join together and sing the peace song.